I thought my house was the only place where I was truly safe, but the moment I opened my security camera app that night, I realized I had been wrong for a very long time. And the worst part? Whoever was inside my house knew exactly where I was. It started as a completely normal evening. Nothing unusual. Nothing that could have warned me about what was coming. I came home late from work, tired and mentally drained. I remember dropping my keys on the table, taking off my shoes, and just standing there for a second, enjoying the silence. That quiet feeling you get when you finally close the door behind you. I made myself some tea, turned on the TV, and sat on the couch. Everything felt calm, but there was one small detail. Something I almost ignored. A chair in the kitchen. It was slightly pulled out. Not much, just enough to feel off. At first, I didn't think anything of it. I live alone, but it's easy to forget small things. Maybe I moved it earlier. Maybe I was just tired. Still, I remember staring at it a little longer than usual. Something didn't feel right, but I let it go. I wish I hadn't. Around 11 p.m., I decided to go to bed. As always, I checked everything. Front door locked, windows closed, back door secured. I even checked it twice just to be sure. I've always been careful like that. Or at least, I thought I was. Sometime after midnight, my phone buzzed. The sound cut through the silence like a knife. I reached for it, half asleep, expecting a random notification. But when I looked at the screen, I felt a strange tension in my chest. Motion detected in living room. I frowned. That didn't make sense. I was home. I wasn't in the living room, sure, but the system usually recognizes me. It doesn't just send alerts like that. Unless something moved. I opened the app slowly, my fingers already starting to feel cold. The recording loaded. At first, everything looked normal. Empty room. Couch, table, shadows from the streetlight outside. Then, movement. A shape entered the frame. I froze instantly. Someone walked across my living room. Slow, careful steps, like they were trying not to be heard. My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. No, this has to be old footage, I whispered to myself. I replayed the clip, again and again, but every time, it was the same person, the same movement, the same moment when they stopped in the middle of the room and turned directly toward the camera. I couldn't see the face clearly, too dark, too unclear, but I knew one thing for sure. That person didn't belong in my house. I sat up in bed, completely awake now. My entire body was tense. I listened carefully. Nothing. No footsteps, no sounds, no breathing, just silence. Too much silence. I opened the live feed. The living room was empty. Completely empty. For a second I felt relief. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe the system bugged, but then my phone buzzed again. Motion detected in hallway. My stomach dropped instantly. The hallway camera. That was right outside my bedroom. I swallowed hard and opened the live feed. The screen flickered, then stabilized. The hallway appeared. Dark, narrow, quiet. And then, a figure slowly stepped into view. Closer this time. Too close. I could see the outline clearly now. Tall, still, watching, moving slowly, directly toward my bedroom door. I covered my mouth with my hand, trying not to make a sound. My entire body went cold. Who was that? How did they get inside? Why were they moving like that? The figure stopped right in front of my door, just stood there, not knocking, not moving, just waiting. And that's when something inside me snapped into a terrifying realization. They weren't searching. They weren't confused. They knew exactly where I was. I stared at my door, completely still. And then, very slowly, the handle began to turn. My entire body locked in place as I watched the door handle move. Slowly, carefully. Like whoever was on the other side didn't want to make a single sound. I stopped breathing. I didn't move. I didn't even blink. My phone was still in my hand, showing the live hallway feed. The figure stood right outside, their hand wrapped around the handle. Then, it stopped. Everything froze. Seconds passed, maybe 5, maybe 10. It felt like forever. And then suddenly, my phone buzzed again. The sound made me flinch so hard I almost dropped it. Another notification. Motion detected in kitchen. My brain struggled to process it. That didn't make sense. The person was right outside my door. I could see them. So what? Was moving in the kitchen? With shaking fingers, I switched cameras. The kitchen feed loaded, and the moment I saw it, my stomach dropped. Another figure, standing near the counter, moving slowly. I blinked, once, twice, hoping it would disappear, but it didn't. There were 2 of them, one outside my bedroom, one in my kitchen. A cold wave of panic rushed through my body. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a glitch. This was real. I forced myself to stay quiet, even as my breathing became uneven. Think. I needed to think. I slowly slid off my bed, placing my feet on the floor as carefully as I could. Every tiny sound felt dangerous. Even the fabric of my clothes brushing against itself seemed too loud. I looked around my room. Closet, window, bed. No good hiding places, no escape. My phone buzzed again, louder this time. Or maybe it just felt louder. Motion detected in living room. 3 alerts, 3 different places. My hands started shaking uncontrollably. How many people were inside my house? I swallowed hard and switched back to the hallway camera. The figure was still there, but now, closer. Much closer. So close that part of their face was visible, but something was wrong, very wrong. I leaned closer to the screen, trying to understand, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Their face looked distorted, like something was covering it, a mask, or maybe something worse. Before I could react, the figure tilted their head. Slowly. Too slowly, at an unnatural angle, like their neck wasn't moving the way it should. The chill ran through my entire body. That wasn't normal. People don't move like that, not like this. I quickly switched to the kitchen camera again. The second figure had stopped moving, completely still, facing directly at the camera. Just like the first one. My chest tightened. They knew. They knew I was watching them. And then, the third camera activated on its own. Living room. I didn't even touch it. The feed turned on automatically, and I saw it. A third figure, walking into the center of the room. Now there were 3 different places, 3 different figures, all standing still, all facing directly toward their cameras. At the same time, like they were connected, like they were aware of each other, like this was planned. My vision blurred for a second. I felt dizzy. This wasn't a break-in. This was something else, something I didn't understand. And then, all 3 figures moved at the exact same time. The one in the hallway grabbed the door handle again. The one in the kitchen started walking toward the hallway. And the one in the living room reached for the light switch. Click. Darkness. The screen went black for a second. Then the hallway camera refreshed. Fast movement, right toward my door. And in that exact moment, I heard it. A soft, quiet knock. Right behind me. From inside my room. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to stay still. If I moved, if I made even the smallest sound, whatever was behind me would know. The knock came again, soft, slow, deliberate, not from the door, from inside my room. My brain refused to accept it. That wasn't possible. I checked the room earlier. I would have seen someone. I would have heard something, but the sound was real. Too real to ignore. My breathing became shallow. My chest felt tight, like I wasn't getting enough air. I stared at the door in front of me, trying to pretend that everything behind me didn't exist. But then, another knock. Closer, heavier, from inside the room. Not the walls, not the door, somewhere behind me. My hand trembled as I slowly raised my phone again. The screen was still on the hallway camera. The figure outside hadn't moved. Still standing. Still waiting. So what was behind me? My fingers felt numb as I switched to the bedroom camera. The screen loaded slowly. Too slowly. For a second, nothing looked wrong. My bed, the window, the walls, everything exactly as it should be. And then I noticed it. The closet door, slightly open, just a small gap, dark inside. I froze. I was sure I had closed it earlier. I remembered it clearly. I stared at the gap, unable to look away. And then, something shifted inside. Not fast, not obvious, but enough. A shape, moving in the darkness. My heart dropped instantly. Someone was inside my closet. The knock came again, louder now, from inside that same closet. I covered my mouth to stop a scream from escaping. My entire body started shaking. How long had they been there? Were they there when I came home? Were they watching me the entire time? My thoughts spiraled out of control. I quickly switched back to the hallway camera. The figure outside my door was still there, hand on the handle, waiting. I was trapped. Something outside, something inside, no way out. My phone buzzed again. The sound felt deafening in the silence. Motion detected in bedroom. My eyes widened. I was already looking at the bedroom. But then, I realized it wasn't the same camera. It was the second one. The angle behind me. My hands shook violently as I switched to it. The feed loaded, and I saw myself, standing in the middle of the room, frozen, facing the door, and behind me, something standing just inches away. So close it was almost touching me. Tall, still, watching. I couldn't breathe. I could see it clearly on the screen, but I couldn't feel it behind me. That made it worse. Its head was tilted slightly, the same unnatural angle as the others. Its face, I couldn't see it properly. Something covered it. Or maybe there was nothing there at all. The image flickered, just for a second, and then the figure leaned closer. Slowly, its head moved next to mine, like it was looking over my shoulder, looking at my phone, watching the same screen as me. A cold wave spread through my entire body. It knew I could see it. And then, very slowly, it raised its hand and pointed directly at the door. At that exact moment, the handle outside finally turned, and the door began to open. The door opened slowly, just a few inches at first, then a little more. I couldn't move. My body felt completely disconnected from my mind. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream. But I just stood there, frozen between two nightmares, the one behind me and the one entering my room. A thin line of light from the hallway stretched across the floor, and then a figure appeared in the doorway. Tall, still, silent. For a moment, nothing happened. No movement, no sound, just silence that felt too heavy. Then it stepped inside, slow, controlled. The same unnatural movement, like it was copying human behavior, but not perfectly. I stared at the phone again. The second camera still showed the figure behind me. Still there. Still close. Now there were two of them in my room. My chest tightened painfully. This wasn't real. It couldn't be real. The figure at the door closed it behind them. Gently, carefully. Like they didn't want to alert anyone. Like they already knew no one would come. Something inside me snapped. Fear turned into panic. I had to move. I forced myself to take a step forward. The floor creaked under my foot. The sound echoed loudly in the silence. Both figures reacted instantly. At the exact same time, their heads snapped toward me, fast, too fast, not human. I gasped and stumbled back. My phone nearly slipped from my hand. The screen flickered once, twice, and then every camera feed went black. No signal, no image, nothing, just darkness. "Please," I whispered, tapping the screen again and again. But it didn't come back. Now I couldn't see them. I slowly lifted my eyes. The room was darker now. Shadows stretched across the walls. I could still feel them, one in front of me, one behind me. Too close. Then, a voice. Right next to my ear, so close I felt the air move. "You weren't supposed to see us." My entire body went numb. The voice was calm, not angry, not loud, just certain. I slowly turned my head, just a little, and for a brief second, I saw a face, my face, same eyes, same features, same shape, but empty, completely empty, no emotion, no life. I stumbled backward until I hit the wall. My heart was racing out of control. "This isn't real," I whispered, but it felt real, too real. The second figure stepped closer. Now both of them stood in front of me, blocking the door, blocking any chance of escape. "What do you want from me?" I said, my voice barely working. They didn't answer immediately. They just watched me, like they were studying something, learning, and then both of them spoke at the same time, perfectly synchronized. We were waiting. A chill ran down my spine. Waiting for what? Before I could react, one of them stepped even closer. So close I couldn't move. And then it said quietly, "To see if you would notice." My thoughts froze. Notice what? My breathing became uneven, and then the final words came, slow, clear, terrifying. "You are not the original." My vision blurred, my mind went blank. And the worst part, a small voice deep inside me whispered something I didn't want to believe. What if they were telling the truth? "You are not the original." The words echoed in my head like something breaking apart. I shook my head instantly. No, that's not possible," I whispered. But my voice didn't sound convincing. It sounded weak, uncertain. The two figures didn't move. They just stood there, watching me, waiting, like they expected something from me. "What do you mean?" I asked, my throat dry. For a moment, there was no answer. Then one of them tilted its head again, that same unnatural angle, and stepped closer. "You replaced them," it said. My chest tightened. "Replaced who?" It didn't respond right away. Instead, it slowly raised its hand and pointed at me. "You." My heart skipped. That didn't make sense. "I am me," I said louder now, desperate. "I live here. This is my house." The second figure moved slightly, and then, in the same calm voice, it said, "No, you live in their place." A wave of confusion hit me so hard I almost lost balance. "This doesn't make sense," I muttered. But something inside me started to feel wrong. Small things I had ignored, forgotten. The chair in the kitchen, the feeling that something was off. Moments I couldn't fully remember. Gaps, tiny gaps in my memory. "When did you last remember entering this house?" one of them asked. I froze. I tried to answer immediately, but I couldn't. I remembered coming home. Keys, shoes, tea, TV, but something felt missing. Like the beginning of that memory wasn't there. Like it started too late. I hesitated. They didn't interrupt. They just waited. That silence made it worse. I pressed my hand against my head, trying to force the memory out. But the harder I tried, the more empty it felt. 2 weeks, one of them said quietly. You appeared 2 weeks ago. The chill ran through my body. No, I've lived here for years, I said quickly. But even as I said it, I couldn't prove it. No clear memories, no strong images, just general feelings, like something I told myself, not something I remembered. The figure stepped closer again. You learned fast, it said. Habits, movements, voice. My breathing became uneven. What are you talking about? I whispered. The second figure slowly raised its hand, and then it pointed toward the wall, towards something I hadn't noticed before, a photo. I turned my head slowly. It was a framed picture. Me, standing next to someone, smiling. But something was wrong, very wrong. I stepped closer. My legs felt weak. The face in the photo was mine, but not exactly. The expression was different. The eyes felt alive, not like mine. And then I saw the date, printed in the corner, 3 months ago. My heart dropped. I didn't remember that day at all. That is the original, one of them said. My vision blurred. No, I whispered. That's me. But the words felt empty, like I didn't believe them anymore. The figure behind me finally moved again. Slow steps, closer. You replaced them, it repeated. They are gone. My chest tightened painfully. What did I do to them? I asked. For the first time, there was a pause, a longer one. Then the answer came. You didn't do anything. I looked up, confused. They left, it said, and you stayed. That made no sense. Why would someone leave their own life, their home, their identity, unless something forced them, or something took their place? My breathing became faster. No, I'm real, I said again. But now it sounded like I was trying to convince myself. The figures moved slightly closer, both of them now standing directly in front of me. You are a copy, they said together. A replacement. My mind started to break under the pressure. What happens now? I asked. My voice barely worked. For a moment. Silence. Then one of them leaned closer. So close I could feel it. And whispered, That depends. I swallowed hard. On what? A small pause, and then the words that made my blood run cold. On whether you want to remember. On whether you want to remember. The words hung in the air like something heavy. Dangerous. Final. I stared at them, my heart racing, my mind already screaming to say no. But something inside me, something deeper, wanted the truth, even if it would destroy me. What happens if I remember? I asked quietly. The two figures didn't answer immediately. They just watched me, studying my face, waiting. Then one of them spoke. You will understand why you are here. A chill ran through my body. And if I don't? I asked. A short pause. Then you will stay like this, it said, living someone else's life? The room felt smaller. The air felt heavier. Every second felt like it was closing in on me. I looked at the photo again, at the version of me that felt real. The version I couldn't remember. My chest tightened. I want to remember, I said. The moment the words left my mouth, everything changed. The lights flickered, the air shifted, and then pain, sharp, sudden. My head felt like it was splitting open. Images flooded my mind, fast, violent, uncontrollable. A door, not mine, a different house, dark, cold. A voice, my voice, but not like now, stronger, angrier. I don't want this anymore, it said. Another voice answered, calm, cold. You asked for this. My breathing became erratic as the memories kept coming. A room filled with screens, cameras, feeds, watching, always watching, the same cameras. My cameras, but not installed for safety, installed for something else, for observation, for selection. I just wanted to escape, my voice said again. Then leave, the other voice replied, but understand the cost. The images blurred, shifted, changed. I saw myself, the real one, standing in front of something wrong, something dark, something not human. You won't remember, the voice said. You will become the replacement. My body shook violently. No, I whispered, but the memory continued. The real me nodded, accepted it, chose it. And then, darkness, silence. And after that, nothing. My vision snapped back to the present. I fell to my knees, gasping for air. Tears streamed down my face. I chose this, I whispered. The realization crushed me. I wasn't a victim. I wasn't random. I wasn't an accident. I was a replacement, because the real me wanted to disappear. The two figures stood in front of me, silent, watching. Now you remember, one of them said. I looked up slowly. Can I go back? I asked. Even before they answered, I knew the truth. No, they said. Only one stays. My chest tightened. Then where's the real me? I asked. A pause and then, gone. The word echoed in my head. Gone. Not hiding, not waiting. Gone. I looked around the room. My house, my life, but not really mine. Then what am I supposed to do? I asked. My voice felt empty. For the first time, the figures stepped back, slowly, creating space. You continue, they said. You live. I stared at them, disbelief filling my chest. That's it? A small pause, then, for now. A chill ran down my spine. What does that mean? I asked, but they didn't answer. Instead, they began to fade, slowly, like shadows disappearing into darkness. No, wait, I shouted, but it was too late. They were gone. The room was silent again, empty, like nothing had happened. My phone screen flickered. The camera feeds came back. Everything looked normal. Living room, kitchen, hallway, bedroom. No figures, no movement, nothing. I slowly stood up. My legs felt weak, my mind still spinning. I looked at the photo again, at the real me, or the one who used to be. And then, my phone buzzed. I froze instantly, slowly. I looked down. A new notification. Motion detected in living room. My heart stopped. I didn't want to open it. I didn't want to see, but I already knew. This wasn't over. It was just beginning.